All right, guys. So, Congress recently jacked up the military budget yet again. Now, these are words that could come out of my mouth literally any year for the past 10 years. Because every single year, they massively increase the military budget. But what Jordan Uhl did here, and I respect this because it's a great contrast, is he highlighted that at the same time, we're giving more money to the military budget. We're effectively cutting the free school lunch program. So here's what he says. Congress lets school lunch program expire as it ratchets up military spending. Senate Republicans use the $11 billion program's cost as an excuse. Rebecca Wood didn't realize she was food insecure until she wasn't anymore. She credits the U.S. Department of Agriculture for that. Since March 2020, when the pandemic hit, the USDA has issued waivers to expand school lunch programs. This $11 billion program provided a vital lifeline to working families who were struggling to feed their kids during the pandemic, even when schools were out during the summer. Before the vouchers were issued, Wood struggled to pay off her 10-year-old daughter's school lunch debt. Quote, each pay period, I dumped a portion of my paycheck into my daughter Charlie's school meal account. In doing so, I paid off her debt and added a few more dollars for future meals, Wood told me. Within a few days, the account balance was in the negative again. Charlie came home from school on those days and said, Mom, you need to give more money to the cafeteria. I felt like we were drowning. During the summer of 2020, 262.7 million meals were served through this program and 190.6 million during the summer of 2021. That's a lot of meals, man. 262.7 million and 190.6 million. According to a new report from the No Kid Hungry campaign, the vouchers loosened restrictions on the otherwise rigid means-tested program. It waived confusing and burdensome paperwork previously required to verify financial eligibility and also allowed parents to grab meals to go during the summer. Quote, we have to eat them there now, Wood said. That means our schedule has to line up with when they are serving, a challenge in a poor household. She and other parents would also grab meals for kids whose parents were working during the day so they too could eat. But instead of clearing an extremely low bar and extending the food program another year, Congress is poised to let it expire at the end of the month, June 30th, after extending it multiple times. No Kid Hungry now estimates kids collectively could miss 95 million summer meals. Top Republicans in the Senate objected to its extension this time around, using hollow concerns about the program's cost as an excuse. Yet on Thursday, the Senate Armed Services Committee approved an additional $45 billion to be tacked onto President Joe Biden's military budget, around $813 billion made earlier this year. This creates a new national defense top line in the Senate of $857 billion. The vote in the Democrat-controlled committee was 23-3. So Democrats supported $45 billion extra to the military at the same time that we're cutting $11 billion for free school lunch. And he has a nice little chart here that shows you what this looks like. School lunch program? Whoa. The cost is too much. Can we really afford this? This is going too far. But Biden's military budget? Nearly $900 billion, and this green area here is the extra $45 billion. Everybody does that. Nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody says, how are we going to pay for it? Can we really afford it? Hey, we should be careful here. They just immediately sign it over. You wonder why people hate Congress. You wonder why they usually have about an 18% approval rating. You wonder why. They can't even do something basic like free school lunch. Now, again, during the pandemic, they did it and they made it less burdensome. They gave them these vouchers. They didn't have to means test it anymore. It was very positive. But now that's expiring. And it appears like they don't give a fuck because they'd rather give that money to Raytheon and Boeing. They'd rather give it to them. They'd rather send a 13th round of support to Ukraine. By the way, that number's literal. They already did 12 rounds of support to Ukraine. Weapons, aid, etc. It's amazing how when they prioritize something, they get it done immediately. But you know what? They don't prioritize free school lunch for people. Just like they don't prioritize giving people health care. We have 30 million people with no health care in this country. Just like they don't prioritize eliminating student loan debt. Biden hasn't done that. And he dangled it in front of us for a while, didn't he? There was one time he said, I'm going to eliminate 50K. And there was another time he said maybe 10,000. And then now he hasn't done anything yet. So they simply don't prioritize things that help working people. And again, you wonder why everybody hates the government and people view going to vote like getting a root canal because they know it's always a lesser of two evils type situation and nobody's really looking out for them. I mean, this is what a broken system looks like. And you know what, guys? The reason why you don't get the free school lunch program extended is because there is no lobby. There is no big school lunch lobby. Doesn't exist. But there definitely is a military-industrial complex. There definitely are lobbyists for the defense contractors. And they shower the politicians with money and campaign contributions. And so they pay them back for it. And that's who they're really working for. Even though they should be working for, you know, the little second grader named Jeremy who can't eat. They should be working for that kid. They're not. They're working for some soulless CEO who's part of Raytheon. Anyway, you get the gist of it. Credit to Jordan Ewell for putting this together. It just shows you the moral rot at the center of Washington, D.C. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.